Good morning. I'd like to provide an important year-end update on Resolution Life and its acquisition of VOYA'S life and annuity business. Last week, we received the Colorado Insurance Commissioner's final approval of this transaction, with conditions that Valmark and our partners at Libra advocated for. We'd like to publicly thank the Colorado Division and Commissioner Michael Conway for their thorough review of this transaction and for imposing meaningful protections for VOYA policyholders that Valmark firms advocated for over the last year. The VOYA sale to Resolution involves over $20 billion of general account assets and will be the largest sale of a U.S. life insurance company to private equity to date, impacting millions of policyholders. Based solely on our concern to protect these policyholders, Valmark and our partners at Libra decided to step up and become advocates on behalf of them. Even before the VOYA announcement, we had the firm conviction that private equity ownership of a U.S. life insurance company is the form least compatible with the interests of policyholders. We've consistently taken this position. This conclusion was informed in part by the work of former New York Insurance Commissioner Ben Losky. Several years ago, Losky brought to attention the ways that private equity uses financial engineering to arbitrage accounting differences between GAAP, that's generally accepted accounting principles, and the statutory accounting that states use to extract higher profits for their investors. Experienced insurance professionals may have often seen this from the perspective of policyholders, as some of the same PE companies extract profits by raising fees to policyholders and changing non-guaranteed elements of their policies. In the case of Resolution, we first had to figure out which regulatory body had approval authority on this sale. From its acquisitions over the last 20 years, ING, the former parent of what is now VOYA, had acquired U.S. life companies in New York, Delaware, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, and Colorado. Our research pointed to a key approval on this transaction would be through Security Life of Denver, which is a Colorado domiciled insurance company. Our team pulled 200 plus pages of Form A filing that Resolution made with Colorado, only to find the most important details of the transaction were claimed to be confidential by Resolution. We then requested access to these documents under Colorado's Open Records Act and retained a former Colorado Insurance Commissioner to help us navigate this process. We learned that part of the transaction, Resolution had created a string of U.S. holding companies in Delaware and Colorado that were ultimately owned by a Resolution limited partnership in Bermuda to acquire Security Life of Denver. Our concerns regarding this transaction were not assuaged as we learned more about it. One primary concern that we have yet to answer is how can Resolution profitably run this business with the same personnel, the same liabilities for policies, the same assets backing them, where VOYA had not been able to. This answer on how Resolution can profit on these policies is even more perplexing when we take into account the huge drop in bond yields that has occurred since this sale was announced in 2019. Under Colorado law, the insurance commissioner must approve the proposed acquisition unless it has certain characteristics, such as lessening competition, the acquiring party is in poor financial condition, The principals of the acquiring party lack sufficient expertise or integrity, or if the acquisition would be hazardous or prejudicial to the insurance buying public. It was this last criterion, the potential hazardous or prejudice to the insurance buying public, that we focused on as the basis for our additional requested policyholder protections. The commissioner's final order approving the acquisition was issued with 7 conditions, primarily focusing on policyholder protection and restricting the upstreaming of profits from Security Life of Denver to Resolution and its investors. The conditions within the order included maintaining a risk-based capital ratio of 600% or more in Security Life of Denver before dividends could be distributed. Conditioning these dividends on Security Life of Denver maintaining separate non-group minimum financial strength ratings from S&P, Standard & Poor's, Moody's, or Fitch. Security Life of Denver and Resolution also enter a capital maintenance agreement if risk-based capital ratios fell below 350%. And finally, a condition reporting on Resolution's following through on its verbal promise to invest at least $100 million into systems and process improvements to improve the policyholder experience. Well, what have we learned from all this? First, we're hopeful that these conditions set a high bar for protecting policyholders. This is not the first time, nor it will be the last time private equity buys a U.S. life insurance business. This sale is but a symptom of a much larger challenge for the U.S. life insurance business, as low rates impact mutual companies, publicly held life insurance companies, and PE-owned life insurance companies. Low yields create a tremendous challenge for general account life insurance products. We see it in the form of low dividends on whole life, dropping cap rates on index products, higher prices for guarantees, and in the case of Voya, actually spinning off their entire life insurance business. This calls for much greater care as insurance professionals recommend insurance companies. While the pressure of these low yields creates challenges for manufacturers of life insurance company, there has never been a better time to be in the insurance advice business. Each of these disruptions to products and companies requires clients to seek expert advice to review their existing plans. It's also clear to us when a company sells off its blocks of life insurance and annuity business, variable policyholders have much better protections than the general account policyholders. And variable products have a clear advantage in a low interest rate environment like ours now. As we close the year, we see Valmark sales of variable policies up almost 40%, with almost all of our sales above $100,000 of premium going variable. Well, that's the end of my summary. We wish you success in the new year, and if you'd like to learn more about how the Valmark Financial Group helps bring the golden rule to life, you can contact Brandy and set a time for us to talk. I'm also glad to send you a package detailing the Voya resolution transaction, including copies of this final order, along with our most recent update on Whole Life 2021 dividend study. Well, thank you and wish you a very happy new year.